What's up, guys? It's your boy, Mahatma Gandhi, and welcome back to some more Choices Yours and the Sun Went Out. And when we last left off, we found Victor Santiago and we got him arrested, and he broke out like I thought. And Sharon got mad at us. I don't know if she's gonna hold that grudge. I don't know if it's gonna be like a Telltale series where it's like Sharon will remember that. And then Dolores called 15 times. So I answered, and I said, "What did I do now?" And this is her response. "Don't you dare," she snarled. "When I call, you pick up the phone. The sun has been extinguished for over an hour, and you..." What? Wait, hold on. Hold on. What? The sun has been extinguished for over an hour. What? What? The sun has gone out again and you've been missing in action. How could you? I let my phone drop to the ground and looked up to the sky. "What?" Etienne asked, pulling himself up onto his elbows. "What is it?" "Modi, check the news sites," I said, a rasp in my voice. "Right away, teacher. Searching." Dolores is still talking right now. She's like, "How dare you? Are you even listening? Are you on drugs?" "I can confirm that the sun has once more gone from the sky." "I knew it!" "It had been missing for 73 minutes. What the hell?" "Oh my God," Sharon whispered, looking up to the sky like Etienne and I. "It was an unnaturally dark night for a very unnatural reason." "Get back on the phone with Dolores." I pulled myself together and picked up my phone. "Dolores, it's night here. I didn't know." "Figures," she said. "Under the circumstances, you've received an increase in the discretionary fund you're so fond of." She then hung up without waiting for a reply. Cursing, I shoved the phone back into my pocket and started running back to the hotel. Oh God. The hotel was complete pandemonium. People were gathered in front of the TV in the reception area, some with tears rolling down their face, others just standing mutely. Oh my God. Even the doorman had abandoned his post. Children, confused by the situation around them, were screaming for their parents, for food, and for their toys. Oh God. A police officer was standing by the desk having a hot discussion with the hotel staff. I quickly made my way there. "What happened? How can I help?" I asked, breathless. The policeman quickly explained that as the clerk translated. Apparently the hospital across town had lost power after some driver heard the news on the radio and crashed their car into the generator room. Oh my God. "I can't get a hold of my manager," another clerk cried, wiping the tears from her face. "And I can't authorize rooms without pay until I do." The policeman swore. "It's the system," she screamed at him, distraught. "I can't do anything without my manager's key." "Where's your manager meant to be? I'll find them. Take my card. My company will pay for the extra rooms." "No, don't know. No, you're not taking my money. I'll find the manager." "She went to get some sleep before breakfast shift," the clerk said gratefully. "Room 302. She's not answering her cell or the room phone." I nodded and stepped towards the elevator. Sharon appeared at my elbow. "I'm going to the hospital, see if I can help in any way." I nodded and she took off. It felt like the elevator took forever to arrive. Etienne and I slid inside when it did and hit the button for level 3. "This is bad," he muttered, wringing his fingers. The park warden was frowning in stress. "I hope everyone in Flying Falls is okay. Why does this keep happening?" After all my investigation, I still didn't know. The door opened and I charged down the hallway until I found the right door. I slammed into it with my fist. "Hello," I've called, hearing only the sound of a television. "Teacher, you should break down the door." I think the person killed himself. She killed herself. I know it. "You should break down the door." That would be the valiant thing to do. I gave Etienne a look and he nodded in silent agreement. On the count of 3, we both rammed the door. It burst open loudly and we tumbled inside. Etienne grunted in pain as he landed on his side. He was clutching his ribs as he pushed himself up. Oh God, I forgot he broke his ribs. I looked up to find the manager sobbing at the foot of the bed, a bottle of liquor in her hand and her gaze fixed on the news reports about the missing son. It's the end, she whispered, barely noticing Etienne and me. Knowing she was too much in shock to do anything, I swiped her key from the bedside table and started to leave. I'm going to stay, see if I could snap her out of it, Etienne called and I nodded. I tossed the key at the clerk. There. Do you need anything else? Thank you, she whispered gratefully and returned her attention to the police officer. I nodded and moved away from the desk. I can't believe I didn't know the sun was out for a whole hour. Modi, did you know the sun was out? I'm about to ask Modi. Did you know? I stepped outside and looked up at the night sky, so foreign now that I knew what had happened. I'm sorry, teacher. Should I have informed you of the new incident? You seem to want peace. Motherfucker. I didn't reply. Modi was right. I did want peace, but I wasn't going to get it here. Down the street, a fireman waved his hands in my direction. Please, we need help. We need as many able bodies at the hospital to help transfer patients now. Around me, people started mobilizing and moving towards him. I was about to do the same when I heard a scream coming from the opposite direction. I paused in indecision. People are walking towards the hospital. Go towards the screaming. I carefully crept towards the screaming. It became less shrill and I could hear sobbing as I grew closer. Teacher, to your left. What is happening? I looked down an alley and noticed 3 men terrorizing a woman. I ran, shouting at them, and the 3 men fled into the darkness, leaving us alone. Oh, thank you, she sobbed as I drew near. They wanted the key to my store and to my livelihood. They wanted to steal everything. What the hell? I nodded in understanding. In times of crisis, there were always those who would loot the stores. I gently took her under my arm and brought her back to the hotel, comforting her. I left her with the same police officer I had met earlier and walked outside again. I walked to the hospital, but by the time I got there was nothing for me to do, so I started the journey back to the hotel again. Many people are scared, teacher. Yes, I know. Yes, Modi. I've said before, people are most scared of things they don't understand, and there's nothing about this incident we understand. What does fear feel like, teacher? Why does it cripple people so? I took a deep breath, not immediately having an answer for Modi. It was only after I walked 2 blocks before I had a response. Everything you do is based on logic, right, Modi? Fear is the lack of logic. It's not being able to compute or understand or control yourself. I frowned. It wasn't coming out the way I had meant. It's a very complex thing, I added. I'm sorry I can't describe it better. Are you afraid, teacher? Yes. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Etienne was waiting for me in reception of the hotel. Everything okay? It seemed like it, I responded, joining him at the table. How's the manager? Panicked, just like half the people in here. Everyone will be if we don't fix this. Looking around at the crowded hotel, I had to agree with him. Miss Sharon has messaged you, teacher. She says she is returning to the hotel. Thank you, Modi. Alright, listen up, everyone, bellowed a man suddenly. I turned to see an official-looking gentleman standing on the reception desk. Everyone get butt naked right now. Give me all your keys, give me your money, give me everything. Get butt naked. It's Santiago, here he comes. Go back to your rooms and get some rest, he said firmly, a Japanese translator repeating the words in the local tongue. There's nothing to be done tonight. I'm sure everything will look brighter in the morning. Yeah, I bet. He laughed at his own little joke. He was the only person who laughed. Clearing his throat, he stepped down and people began talking again. What was that about? Sharon added, apparently having found her way to us during the speech. My guess, preventing a riot. But he has a point, Etienne answered, rubbing his face. I could use some shut-eye. Retire for the night or stay away. Oh. Stay awake, bro. Etienne and I swapped rooms, him taking the twin with Sharon so I could work without disturbing either of them. Y'all better not be doing nothing funky. I sat for an hour or more staring at my laptop wondering what to do. I went over everything I've gathered since that first incident again. It was tiring work. In the early morning, I laid down on Etienne's bed and ended up falling asleep from exhaustion. I woke up in darkness to a pounding headache. Without looking out the window, I knew that the sun was still out. Sighing, I made my way down to the restaurant downstairs without bothering to wake either of my companions. They deserved a break from this sunless world. I sat at a table and asked the waiter for the time. It's noon, I'm afraid, he said, casting a fearful look at the window. You'll have to wait a bit longer for your meal. We're short-staffed. I nodded and he moved away. Etienne and Sharon joined me not long after that, weary and short-tempered. None of us slept well after all. What do you two plan to do today? I'm going to visit Mickey. I've heard where she was moved to when the hospital was evacuated last night, Etienne said, digging into his food with gusto. You think she'll know something? I asked. Can't hurt, he admitted, but I'd honestly just like to see her. Dang. Sharon, I asked, turning to her. She just lifted a spoon of soup into her lips and she put it down again, biting her lip. I was going to go to the airport, she sighed, see if I could see Santiago. He'd be fleeing right about now, right? I swallowed, trying to find a reasonable argument against it while Etienne looked at her like she was insane. He's dangerous, he exclaimed. So am I, she snorted. Etienne looked at me, clearly hoping I would back him up. I gently shook my head, telling him no, nothing we say was going to stop her. We all split up after our meal, going different ways. I went back to the cafe outside of number 5. The emergency workers were still at it, digging under the remains of the building Victor Santiago had blown up. After discovering Mickey alive under the rubble, they must be hoping to find more survivors. I'd settled in with a coffee when Moody started asking questions. Oh my god, stop asking questions, bro. Teacher, what do you plan to get out of coming here? Hope. If more people are alive in there, then Victor didn't win. Yeah. I don't understand, teacher, but I'm glad you do. I wasn't sure if Modi was right about that. I didn't feel like I understand anything anymore. Later that night, I got back to the hotel to find Sharon in our room with her laptop. Santiago had hopped onto a plane. She'd seen him too late and caused a fuss, ending up forcefully escorted from the airport, so now she was trying to figure out where he was going. Etienne joined us for room service, telling us that Mickey hadn't woken from her medically induced coma yet, but he'd spent the day sitting with her. Oh god. She's in the coma. I'm sorry about Mickey, I told him. Me too. He glanced at me. Wait, did you think Mickey and I are a thing? I shook my head. It's none of my business. A cheeky grin formed on the park warden's face. Don't worry, you're still my favorite. Ah! Good. Yes! He likes me. That's good. I think Sharon likes me too. So really, I need to decide, because I believe that they're the two love interests that they mentioned in this game. I need to decide on who I'm going to go for first. But I believe I said that this is going to be the Sharon run, so I'm probably going to end up with Sharon at some point. I'm going to try to, at least. At one point of the night, the hotel's alarm system went off, and with the majority of the staff on leave after the incident, it was bedlam. What the heck? Sharon, Etienne, and I tried as best as we could to help out. The only indication of morning was the time on the clocks. Damn, the sun's still out. It's been out for like 3 days. I was originally planning to wait for the sun to return before leaving Japan, but it didn't seem like it would happen. Oh god. There was nothing left to do here. It was time to go. Flying out tonight? Etienne asked abruptly over breakfast to both Sharon and me. What tipped you off? Etienne chuckled, looking at me under his lashes. I can read you like an open book. Damn! What am I thinking right now? What am I thinking? I was thinking to the Geico commercial.
Not in my house.
Okay. Sharon muttered something unkind under her breath. Sharon? Sharon. Sharon. Don't talk to Etienne like that. He's my friend, okay? Maybe he won't soon enough. Maybe he'll be something more. Or maybe you'll be something more. Who knows? It's probably going to be you, Sharon, but still. Sharon cut into her eggs with vigor. I'm not staying too long either, Sharon said, shoveling food into her mouth. As soon as I find out where Santiago is, I'm heading there. And if you can't figure it out, I asked. I will, she promised. Okay. I sighed. Strangely, I had no doubts about that. Teacher, maybe you would like to go to Egypt. Egypt? What? Why? Egypt? I found reports of an Umi in Egypt, teacher. Oh. I believe they are strong enough to investigate. Okay. If Sharon is going to Egypt, then I'll go to Egypt. But if Etienne's going to Egypt, I'm not going to Egypt. Yumi is a little boy in Egypt who has predicted each sun outage correctly to the hour so far. Dang! He's gaining popularity on the internet website called Phantom Happenings. I frowned. The name Phantom Happenings didn't exactly inspire confidence. Apparently Etienne had felt the same way. Sounds like one of those pseudo-science weapons. You're right. You're right. I nodded in agreement. Etienne stood up. I'm going to look at the journal again, see if I can get any tips. And then he was gone. Sharon looked like she was about to say something to me, but my phone rang first. It's Dolores. It's Miss Montague, teacher. Every time the phone rings, it's always her. Dolores, fancy hearing from you. What can I help you with? Dolores, fancy hearing from you. I hope it's not rude. Italy, she stated, a keyboard clacking in the background. I want you to hunt down the astronaut Luca Parmigiano. He was in space during one of the incidents, and now there's something strange about his situation. Strange? Think cover-up, she said simply. Also, it looks like Victor Santiago's heading that way. We going to Italy! She hung up without another word, and I sighed. I'm telling Sharon he's there. I filled Sharon in. From the determined look on her face, there was no doubt where she was going next. I don't care if you're coming to Italy or not, but let me know, she said softly, touching my hand. Ooh. It would be nice to have company, Sharon said before leaving. I was left alone at the table with 3 hardly eaten meals in front of me. Eat all 3! Where are we going, teacher? We're going to Italy. I mulled it over, thinking about everything that had happened so far. It seemed that I had got to Japan far too late. After Victor Santiago blew up the secret scientist base, I didn't want to repeat that mistake again. So, what was next? I could go to Italy and interview an astronaut who was in space while the sun went out the last time, like Dolores wanted. Victor Santiago would be there, and I'd have Sharon's company. Sharon? She can handle her own. She proved with that biker and everything else. On the other hand, I could go to Egypt and find out more about Yumi. If I did, I was sure Etienne would come with me, since I would be chasing down Sol's lead, information that his father had probably died for. Italy with Sharon, or Egypt with Etienne? We gonna go to Sharon and make plans for Italy. Going to Italy. You should at least tell Etienne Egypt is where to go. Sharon answered the room door with a smile. It took us most of the day to arrange ourselves and get tickets. Etienne dropped us off at the airport with an earnest goodbye. Tomorrow he'd be flying out to Egypt. The sun still hadn't ignited in the sky. At customs, the male worker looked carefully at Sharon's papers. Shaza, are we? He joked with her. Oh! He gave a tooth-filled grin and said nothing, prompting him to move faster. Shaza, you want anything to eat? I asked, teasing her. She deftly whacked my arm. If you gotta call me by a nickname, choose a less Australian one, she said, a smile on her face. The accent doesn't suit you. I'm gonna give her a nickname. Sharon paid for her food while I deliberated with a smile. I happen to think Shaza is an excellent nickname, teacher. I chuckled at Modi's latest contribution. After everything we've been through, I had the perfect nickname for Sharon. What is it? Cheers for pain. Ron! Ron! Cheers for pain. Ron, you gotta do it. Ron. She grinned, hearing the nickname. Alright, she laughed. I like You better not give me a nickname now, and it better not be like a possum or something like that. Kangaroo. We boarded the last flight out of Japan, and I stared moodily out the window. Sharon had insisted I took that seat, uninterested in anything outside. Teacher, the sun has been out for over 48 hours. Oh my good lord. I didn't answer. I felt sick. A lump rose in my throat, and it had nothing to do with the violent turbulence we were experiencing. It had everything to do with the dead stars in the sky. Oh god. Arc 7 completed. How many people? You and 17% of players will be heading to Italy with Sharon after seeing the aftermath of Victor's brutality in Japan. Dang, I'm in the minority for like every single one of these. Alright, let's... 8-7? That's a lot of things. Damn. After what felt like forever waiting in an airport for my flight to be cleared, I was finally on my way to Italy. Oh god. That's the same sentence I just read. Being in a plane normally felt like a new start, but this was different. It should have been bright outside, but the night just went on and on. I wasn't the only person who closed their window shutters just to keep out the sight of more darkness. Every other passenger was doing the same thing as me and trying their best to act normal. The constant darkness was so disorienting that the flight attendants took a vote to decide whether the cabin should be lit for day or night. Everything felt wrong, and it didn't help to be crossing time zones. I think it should be day. While it's day, you light it, but at night, you turn the lights off, just so you know, like, okay, the lights are on, so it's daytime. The sun would be out by now. After we flew over the Mediterranean Sea, we struck turbulence. Far too many people gasped, and I heard someone stifling sobs. Oh god. The seatbelt sign switched on, and I doubted there was a single person on board not obeying it at once. Oh god, are we crashing? It should have been a major issue, but the turbulence just went on and on. I pretended I hadn't noticed that the sobbing had come from a kid of 18 or so just across the aisle. Oh god. He got a hold of himself and blew his nose, gripping the armrest with both hands. Poor kid. Oh, good lord. Duh. Hi, I said cheerfully and introduced myself. Are you going to Rome for a holiday, or did you just really want some pizza? He stared at me as if I was insane, then laughed weakly. We followed a typical small talk script from then on, talking about what I'd done on my gap year and what he planned to do. We happened to pause whenever the plane dipped or shook too vigorously, but neither of us mentioned it aloud. I'm Flip, he said. Oh, hello, Flip. Is that some new slang term? I asked. Nickname, he said. I'm an okay gymnast, except I'm too tall to go pro. Huh? How are you too tall to go pro? Teacher, this plane is going the wrong way. What? What? The plane is going the wrong way? What do you mean, Modi? I asked, turning my wrist so Flip could see who I was talking to. If the plane was functioning correctly, we would have avoided this weather system. I'm gonna actually end it right here, even though it's a tiny bit short. It might be. I'll speak to the flight attendant. So I'm gonna call this the end of the video. I'm gonna see you guys in the next one. And bye.